before we get started, let me just set the stage. We have two hosts who will be conducting a fireside chat discussing what tourism companies can do to survive and thrive during the coronavirus. All your cameras and microphones will be turned off, but we do encourage questions. So please use the chat box. It should be on your right-hand side. If it's not open yet, you can open it from the bottom to provide all of your questions. And we'll get to those questions as we go through. The format's going to be pretty simple. Our hosts are going to talk for about 40 minutes, and then we're going to open up to questions. But if you can jot down questions, we'll grab the best ones, and between us and our hosts, we'll get those answered for you. Now, let me introduce our two speakers, Dan Austin and Tim Warren. Dan Austin is founder and CEO of Austin Adventures and Tourism. Dan ignited his passion for adventure travel in 1976 as partner of a rafting company in the Pacific Northwest. His travels soon took him to Alaska, where he owned and operated a mid-sized construction company. Here, he gained valuable experience working out difficult logistics and long-distance problem solving. His company completed projects from the most remote Alaskan village to the military bases of Hawaii and the Azores. Our second host is Tim Warren. He is founder of Travel Business Success. For over 26 years, Tourism Tim Warren has been dedicated to helping current and future tourism stakeholders worldwide to start, grow, and prosper and exit in their business dreams. He is also the host of the Travel Business Success radio podcast and Tourism Marketing TV, and author of Double Your Tourism Bookings online programming. Now it's my pleasure to welcome to you our two hosts, Tourism Tim Warren and Dan Austin.
Hey, good morning, Scott. Thank you so much. Dan, you need to unmute yourself.
Thanks, Scott.
Really appreciate that. Thank you, Scott, for the intro, and thank you all for being here. I see some names out there, some friends and clients, which is fun, from all over the world, so that is great. Dan and I go back quite a ways, and we were talking about this just the other day. About 1995, we think we met, and we both had a passion for travel and tourism, and we're both involved with tour companies. And we started, we started getting together about every Saturday, I think, and chatting, or at least once a month. We were on the phone chatting, and man, we would go deep and wide, and we just have a great time talking about the business we love.
We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into.
Yes, little did we know what would unfold from that. And I got to brag a little bit on Dan, is that Dan, you've kicked ass. And you've done amazing things in this industry. You've enhanced a lot of quality of life. You and your team have won an enormous amount of awards, and we've enjoyed numerous podcasts together. So if you guys haven't heard some of our podcasts, Travel Business Success, where Dan and I are chatting and talking, I highly recommend it. But yeah, Dan, it's always a pleasure to get together with you and do something we love, and that's talk about tourism.
Thanks, Tim.
Cool. So I'm just going to do a quick overview on folks on, again, of the topics we're going to cover. Dan and I talked about, there's a lot of webinars out there right now, and we thought, what is not being spoken about, and what is forward-looking, that's both present and in the future, that really is more actionable. And Dan and his company has been doing some pretty amazing stuff. But the overall topics we're going to cover are marketing communication, when and how to start selling, operations, specifically leadership, logistics, and self-care, optimizing workflow and marketing flow to reduce costs, to increase conversions, increase profits. And we're going to have a lengthy Q&A, and we're going to open this up, and really no question. You can ask any question you want about this business, this wild and wacky bird business that we're in. Between the two of us, Dan and I have probably been there or done that, or have got some insight about it. So we're thrilled that you all are here. And on that note, Dan, let's jump right into marketing communications as our top topic. When I spoke with you a couple weeks ago about this, I was super impressed with what you had done as this COVID thing started unfolding as your company, and reaching out to your guests and some of the results that you were having. So my first question to you is, when did you start communicating with your existing guests, and when COVID set in, and how did you communicate? What were you sharing?
Well, I think that one of the things that served us well is we actually got ahead of it, and we literally saw it coming and knew we had to kind of all but eliminate the standard, email marketing 101, right? The standard, buy your trip to Costa Rica now, buy this, do this, look at this. So what we adopted early on was what I called the ABCs. And it was anticipate, be honest, and communicate. And so we started a really aggressive campaign, totally shifted our focus again early on from outgoing sales efforts to outgoing communication efforts, and we really made it personal. My sales team, weren't in a position to lay anybody off. We put everybody to work just doing different duties. We called every single guest. We told them we were very much aware of the situation. We're monitoring it. We became the expert. I studied more on coronavirus around the world, which it's dizzying because it changes every day, and you have to listen to 5 experts to even remotely get some idea of a position. But we took it real personal. We dropped the kind of the standard template emails, and I started sending out personal emails from me. And I was very honest about it. My language, my talk. I'm sure I had more than a few typos in there, but literally just trying to set the stage that we were there for the long haul. We're aware of what's going on. We're totally all about working with our guests to keep them safe. And we were just honest. If we didn't know, we said we don't know. And we said, the things are changing drastically. Yes, last week I told you we were going to be running Utah in April. That changed. Now we're running Utah in June. And literally took that kind of a full frontal approach. Let's just really go out of our way to over communicate and let them know that we're human, they're human, and just kind of accept the position that we're all unfortunately in right now, and we're in it together. That was the other message that I think we got across loud and clear to our customers, is that we're in this together. So I think that was the start.
Well, what I was so impressed with, Dan, I mean, I really liked your approach, and it was personal, it was proactive, and you just got on the phone and called. And I know that during this time, we're talking about March and April, and many of us were dealing with cancellations, or people were not booking, but mostly cancellations and refunds. And share with our audience how many cancellations you guys do a huge volume. You're all over the world. And how many cancellations and refunds did you have to do?
Well, it was early enough in the season that, unfortunately what we missed is we missed our peak selling season, right? Our peak selling season is February, March, and April. So literally what we had was what we had on the books prior to, January 1. And it was a great year. Was all set to be a great year. But, literally, I don't know, well over 1,000 plus customers that we literally reached out to, and not just once. We just, even before their trips were due, we started communicating with them and asking them, what are you looking for? What are you most comfortable with? And we had some guests said, early on, I'm out. I want to cancel flat out. I don't know when I'll ever travel again. Fortunately, that number was low. And we had a lot of guests that said, 60% of our guests said, we'll wait and see. Let's just wait and see. Let's see if we can travel. We'll ride it out. Another 12% rescheduled for later in 2020. And then another, I think it was 12% rescheduled for 2021. And again, that was early on. We started this kind of practice probably the first week of March in any kind of sincere effort. And we knew we were in trouble. We knew that things were definitely, shaping up around the world. So national parks, our summer season domestically is our big season. And that's what was really in question. Nobody knew at that point what the parks were going to do. And so it literally became every week every day it was changing. And so you might tell a guest one thing today and then have to call them up and say, oh, Canada just closed their borders. We're not doing the Canadian Rockies trip this year. But because we had that open dialogue with them, it really worked. I've just been amazed. 99% of our guests have been absolutely awesome. Really super good, easy to work with. If they could reschedule, they did. If they couldn't, they were honest about it. We also quickly changed our cancellation policies and our deposit policies and liberalized them. I know a lot of tour operators struggled with that. We just felt it was best. We really try to put ourselves in the consumer's shoes, and it hurt a lot. But in the long run, we've had zero chargebacks. We've had, no complaints. We've had no bad reviews. We've had, literally, I think our guests appreciated the fact that we posted it on our homepage. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're willing to do now, or what we can do. We pushed back final payments. We liberalized just about everything we possibly could do. And but then we were also in the conversations. We're honest about it. This hurts, and many of them were like, okay, let's escrow that money for next year or for later in the year, and literally tried to work with us. So it's a two-way street.
It's really impressive what you did. In the bottom line, folks, what Dan achieved for his team is they avoided mass amounts of cancellations and refunds and chargebacks, which is huge. I mean, and the dude is going to hit the fan again in the world at some point in time, whether it's something like this or something else. I think the takeaway for me, and I hope for you, is be proactive, be personal, connect with your guests in as much in the most personalized way as you can, and be honest. I think your ABCs it's such a great model, and it's helped you move forward and connect with your guests in a more authentic way.